Red lights go out, and Tom Fisher looks to make a good start. A terrible start made by Dave Grace from the second row of the grid, but it is going to be Tommy Fielding who gets the advantage on the run down towards Redgate Corner. And Tommy Fielding sweeps across in front of the pack, and he will have the lead. James Alderson, I think, is up into second place. Fisher gets sort of muscled out there, down into third position, as they now head for the Craner Curve. Now, be careful, everyone. We've seen what's been happening down at the Craners all day long. They're on their tippy toes as they wind through the left and head into the right hand of the old hairpin. So far, so good. Tommy Fielding looks as though he has held on to the lead, and it also looks like we've got everybody safely through that sequence of corners. Whew, that's good news. Right, up the hill they go, into McLean's corner. Fielding, if that is still him in the lead, which I think it is really starting to march away, actually. Good confidence here on relatively cold tyres in the early stages. As they come out of Coppice Corner, I think it is Tommy who has got the edge then over the rest of the field. Down the back straight they go. Hard to see on the screens if that's Fisher or Alderson in second place. The two largely white machines, the blue leathers, remember, is Alderson. And I think he's in third, isn't he, as they come through. So Fielding leads the way. It is Fisher second, Alderson in third position. Fourth place then for Dan Stamper. And then fifth place, I think, is Lee Wells on the number 70 machine. Round the Melbourne hairpin they go. And Tommy with a decent little cushion, actually, over Tom Fisher. So that red flag was good news, really, for Fielding. He's definitely made a better go of the restart than he did the initial start of the race. Across the line they will go then. Fielding, Fisher from Alderson, the top three. Stamper in fourth position. Is that then Lee Wells in fifth? Yes, it is. Caden Wilkinson sixth. Dave Gray seventh. Josh Leading eighth. Ninth for Jody Lees. And the top 10 completed by Kyle Tinker. The Cups 600 class led by Matt Pallett still, as it was on the initial start to the race. Down Craner Curve goes the leading group though. And while Fielding no longer getting away, is he? These top four absolutely together as they drop downhill. So Fielding, despite initially looking like he had the pace to pull the pin, it's not happening, is it? He's under real threat now from Tom Fisher as they climb through Schwantz. It's McLean, where Alderson now actually tries to peek up the inside as well. So a four-way battle for the lead. That didn't work for Alderson though, and it means that Dan Stamper's got a chance to attack him into Coppice Corner. James sends it into the right hander quickly though, manages to keep the number 80 at bay. And the exhibition straight, they're still latched together, those two though. We might still see a move attempted by Stamper into the pocket. Yes, we do. He looks to the inside, but Alderson late enough on the brakes to fend him off. So Tommy Fielding continues to lead the way out of the chicane. Fisher with a decent drive, but Alderson the quickest of all of them out of that particular corner, and he now goes to the inside of Fisher for second place. Down the hill into the Melbourne hairpin, and James Alderson gets to the inside line, gets to second place, and well, then runs a bit wide on the exit though, so Fisher coming back at him as they head for Goddard's corner. Alderson late on the brakes, very late on the brakes. He almost gets into the side of Tommy Fielding, who had to sit up to avoid contact, and that will allow Fisher back through into second place. So Fielding hangs on, but James Alderson was very near to disaster then as they went into the final turn. He's back on the inside of Fisher at Redgate though, and this time I think Alderson will make the move stick. So James Alderson back to second position, knocks Fisher down an extra place. Good news again for Tommy Fielding here, really. He wants to get as many bikes as possible between himself and Tom Fisher as he battles for second in the championship. Downhill they go. Alderson though is now going for the race lead, and he's got it at the old hairpin. So James Alderson goes through, runs a bit wide on the exit. Fielding tries to come back at him, but can't quite get level as they climb the hill. So now it's Alderson the leader, Fielding second, Fisher third. Dan Stamper still there, part of this battle in fourth position. Round McLean's towards Coppice for the third time of 8th, remember, much shorter race than they originally had planned. So that's why I think they're all getting quite punchy here in the early stages. They know that they need to get to the front as quickly as they can. Josh Leading, by the way, has retired to the pit lane. That's a shame. Josh started 9th on the grid, having finished 8th yesterday. He's not going to be finishing this second race of the weekend. Leaders out of the Fogarty S's. Alderson now just building a small cushion over Fielding. It's much later on the brakes though, and maybe a bit too late, just misses the apex slightly at the Melbourne hairpin, but that's alright, keeps Tom Fisher behind him. Stays on the tail. Fisher goes right round the outside of Fielding at the final hairpin. Did that work? I think it did. I'm not entirely sure how he stopped that, but Tom Fisher has just sailed round the outside of Tommy Fielding for second place, so that will wake Tommy up. realised that he could brake a little bit later into that corner, and in fact he's now trying to do some late braking on the inside of Redgate to reclaim that second position. It doesn't quite work. Down Craner curves. Now James Alderson leading Tom Fisher, and Fisher already starting to go after him. Old hairpin again, Fielding looking under threat from Dan Stamper actually. Stamper is now looking at the possibility of a podium. Stamper has had one podium finish so far. That was a second place last time at Alton Park in the first race of the weekend. Now get himself another. Still absolutely has won though, this group of four, and it's nose to tail for the race lead as they exit Coppice. So Tom Fisher now starting to build a challenge for the lead. He's under the rear wheel of James Alderson. In fact, he's up the inside of him. Is he into the chicane? James is late enough on the brakes to hold on. That's just backed them up again now into Fielding and Stamper behind. Fisher quick off the Fogarty S's, looks to the inside line at Melbourne. Alderson brakes as late as he dares. Tips into the hairpin still with the advantage out of the right hander. They climb steeply uphill now towards Goddard's, where Fisher made the move for second a lap ago, and he's going to try the same thing as he looks to the outside line. But James Alderson later on the brakes than Fielding was a lap ago. So he, I think, will emerge from the hairpin as the leader. Yes, he does, but Fisher gets good drive onto the pit straight, and as they now begin the second half of the race, he's surely going to have a little go into Redgate corner, uses the slipstream, looks to the inside. Alderson is once again stronger under braking, gets the bike stopped, sits it up nicely on the exit and accelerates downhill, still in first position. So Fisher's not going to have an easy time of it getting the lead here from Alderson, is he? Of course, the more they battle, the more chance Tommy Fielding has of joining back into this fight. The old hairpin they head. Fifth position is still Dave Grace, Caden Wilkinson, Lee Wells, Jody Lease, Kyle Tinker and Matt Pallett completing the top 10 now. Pallett moving into 10th place after Josh Leading retired a few laps ago. He remains the leader of the Cup 600 class. Now is this another challenge from Tom Fisher as they go up towards Coppice corner. He's peeking to the inside of Alderson. I think Alderson managed to keep ahead. Exhibition straight then towards the Fogarty S's for the second lap in a row. Tom Fisher looks to the inside, but for the second lap in a row, Alderson is later on the brake. So Fisher isn't going to outbrake James Alderson. He's going to have to try and force a mistake out of the leader. I don't think there's anyone who can realistically brake later than James is right now. So where else can Tom make his move? Maybe somewhere like the old hairpin, a more high-speed corner where you can just be a bit more committed on the way in. Goddard's usually would be a good place to attack, and he's right within striking range, but Alderson knows how to defend that move. It's out of the final turn, about as close to each other as they were a lap ago. So again, Fisher will have ideas of looking to the inside at Redgate corner, but James Alderson has fended that move off before, and he does so again on this lap around the right-hander. We'll head down Craner curves. Once again, the four of them pretty much nose to tail, almost exactly 1 second covering the top four riders, with 3 laps now to go in the race, and still James Alderson leading the way. Alderson missed the last few rounds of the championship, so his last win in this category was at Croft, where he won all 3 races in the Super Series 600 Championship, and now looking to try and win again in his second race back with us. To do that, he's going to have to fend off Tom Fisher, who's been one of the fastest riders all season long, and Tom's had a much better exit from McLean's corner. He's fully alongside now as they go towards Coppice, and I think he had the inside line, but maybe Alderson was able to stay in front. Out of Coppice they come. Is that still Alderson ahead? I think it is, you know, with Fisher getting more and more frustrated here. He's looking again to the inside of the Fogarty S's. You know how that one's likely to end. James Alderson carries the speed better into the left, into the right, and downhill now towards the Melbourne hairpin. 2 laps to go then at the end of this one. Every question so far that Tom Fisher has asked of James Alderson, James has had an answer. Where can Tom make his move? Into Goddard's maybe, looks to the inside line. It's so tempting to lunge to the inside there. It's a nice wide uphill braking zone, but it's a bumpy braking zone as well. Very easy to tuck the front on the way into the corner. So James Alderson to do that a little bit better than Tom Fisher. He will lead them onto this penultimate lap of the race. again, almost identical lap times. Alderson did just set the fastest lap, actually, a 1:34.704. The pace is slower than yesterday, though. It was a 34.2 that Oliver Barr set in yesterday's race to give him pole for race 2. So a few tenths off that for the time being. Out of the old hairpin they go through Starkey. Still, James Alderson is hanging on in front. Tom Fisher, Tommy Fielding, and Dan Stamper. So Alderson just did a 34.7. Yesterday he did a 34.6, so even he is a tenth slower than he was, but it's a lot warmer, I'd say, this morning than it was yesterday. Explain, I think, a little bit the dip in lap times down the back straight towards the foggy S's. Again, we've seen this before. Alderson doesn't feel the need to defend because he knows he's got that strength under braking, and actually now Tommy Fielding getting closer to Tom Fisher than he has been for a number of laps. Down into the braking zone. Fielding knows the significance here of trying to beat Tom Fisher. Now, if Fisher finishes second, he'll outscore Tommy by 4 points. I think that would still be enough for Tom to wrap up second in the championship. Maybe that's why Tom isn't really taking too many big risks here. Happy maybe just to bank the points for second and then really go for the race win later on this afternoon. Let's see what happens then. The final lap begins. 2.5 miles of racing still to go, and James Alderson sets another fastest lap of the race now. And actually, yeah, Tom Fisher is, I think, going to be a bit more preoccupied with what Tommy Fielding is doing than he is focused on going for the race lead here, because Fielding is the one he's having the battle with in the points. I think he'll know where his priorities should lie. It's another example, really, of how Tommy seems to get quicker as the race goes on. It's a shame for him that this has been shortened to 8 laps. He's not had a good run out of the old hairpin, though, and Fisher gaps him by a few more lengths. Closes right back in on race leader James Alderson. Round McLean's they go, and again Fisher's had a good exit from McLean's. He's tried this a few times into Coppice Corner. He's going to have to really commit to make it work, though. Alderson, I think, hangs on again. Outside line on the way in, absolutely nip and tuck on the way out, but James Alderson still has the race lead as they head for the Fogarty S's for the last time. Then onto the brakes they will go, and is that Fielding now actually moving up into second place? I think it might be. Tommy Fielding has got past Tom Fisher. Tommy Fielding into second position as they went through the Fogarty S's, so Fisher got a bit preoccupied trying to get past Alderson and ended up giving second place away, and now Fielding is late on the brakes into the Melbourne hairpin, and here comes Dan Stamper as well. Dan Stamper on the inside of Fisher for third place. It's all unravelling a bit, this, for Tom Fisher. He manages to fend off Stamper. Into the last corner they will go. James Alderson, I think, is going to hang on to claim the victory, but it's going to be a real drag race to the line. Tommy Fielding is closing in, but he's not going to get there. James Alderson hangs on there to claim the victory in the second Pirelli Super Series 600 race of the weekend, and Tommy Fielding punches the air in delight at his second place, because that keeps him in the hunt mathematically for second place in the championship. So it's number 19 James Alderson who wins. Second, number 556, Tommy Fielding. Third, number 45, Tom Fisher. And fourth, for number 80, Dan Stamper. Fifth place, number 71, Dave Grace. Sixth, number 59, Caden Wilkinson. Seventh, for number 70, Lee Wells. Eighth, number 141, Kyle Tinker. Ninth, 711, Jody Lease. And the top 10...